Hi all, this is a real pleasure for me to be with you virtually today. So as mentioned by Mika, I'm Fabienne Lefever. I am Vice President at Capgemini Engineering, leading the Automotive Center of Excellence. And I am an automotive engineer. And I am a manager with more than 25 years of experience in the automotive industry. And when I've been asked for this keynote about how to drive the change for more women in the auto industry, I've immediately had a look at Wikipedia because I love this girl power image so much. And in Wikipedia, they say girl power is a slogan that encourages and celebrates women's empowerment, independence, confidence, and strength. So really happy to welcome you to this Automotive Girl Power keynote. I am currently in charge of driving the development of offers to support the automotive customers in achieving a safer, a smarter, a more sustainable and affordable mobility experience. I am leading a team of automotive experts, both men and women, helping customers make the most of the opportunities offered by the digital and software technologies. And we all have a deep automotive industry knowledge and the strong ambition to place Capgemini at the forefront of the change to contribute to a more sustainable world as well. And before joining Capgemini, something like 7 years ago, I've had a rich and a long career of engineer and manager at a French OEM, a major one, where I've been the first female technical project manager in charge of the product and process development on a car, in charge of everything but the electricity, electronics, and the software and chassis. I've been leading cross-functional teams from engineering, stamping, welding, painting. So as you can hear, I've been kind of breaking the gender bias myself, and I'd like to encourage all women, and especially young ones, to do so. The reason for which I broke the gender is probably because I don't care, in fact, about my gender. And let's be clear, I don't care about others' gender neither. I don't care about what I'm supposed to do. I don't care about being judged. What I care about is to follow what is driving me and to achieve what I want to do in the respect of others. And my first message is therefore, girls, you are the one at the driver place. You are the ones driving the change and making it happen. Do not, never count on others to progress. You are the ones building your own road, so choose it, take it, and live it. During all my career, I've been the one doing my choices, pulling my ropes, managing things to make it happen. And that's how things work. At the end of my college, it was something like 40 years ago. It's painful to say so. Everything and everybody was pushing me for business school because I was excellent in foreign languages, with good communication skills, like to connect with others, and essentially since I was a girl. But I was on my side determined not to choose the most obvious and easiest way for me and to become an engineer because what was easier for me was also much more boring to me. And why was I willing to become an engineer? Because I had images, because my father, my grandfather, my uncle, they all were engineers. And there were plenty images to me, images of passionate work, images of diverse careers, images of plenty of opportunities I could catch becoming an engineer. And that's the exact same thing for the automotive. There are plenty of opportunities to catch in the automotive industry, and not only technology related. My father has always been a role model to me, and since I've never been considering any gender difference, he has been inspiring me as a role model. And I will come back to this role model, which is a key notion to me later. After my engineering school, my target was to join an automotive OEM company because a car is still the aggregation of all technologies, offering a huge playground to expand skills and grow. So again, automotive is not only technology. You can do anything you want to do in the automotive industry. And that's something we need to make our girls aware of. And I did the right choice, since a car used to be all mechanical and it's now all software driven, and I am myself currently doing the shift as well. When joining Peugeot Citroën, which is the French OEM I've been working for in 1997, I was, in fact, and that's frightening to say so, the only and single woman in a 70 people engineering office. And I must confess that this has never been a problem to me. I've been changing job functions and responsibilities each 3 years, average. I've been facing new wider scopes, challenges. I've been passionate about my job, committed to my company, my teams, always as a lot of women, responsible and accountable in everything I am doing, focusing on results and efficiency. Everyone knows that times are changing for the better in many ways. But when I look at women today in automotive careers, I can't help notice and regret not to see a huge progress 30, 40 years later. We still need to encourage young girls to pursue a career in technology. There's still a lot of work to do to attract young women in the automotive industry. In French engineering school, as an example, female students represent only 27% of the students. How come could they represent 50% of engineers in the companies? When looking at women in automotive careers, the running ratio is 20% of females only. And that is a staggering gender imbalance. This is surprising considering that depending on sources, from 50 up to 65% of all new cars are bought by ladies, and that behind 80% of purchase decision, there is a woman. I was recently reading that Claire Mesnier, she's the head of HR of Alpine, the A110 being, by the way, the car I'm personally dreaming about. As HR, she had the target to employ 30% of women in 5 years, where they currently represent only 12% today. So the question is, why aren't more women in the automotive industry? And what can we do together to drive the positive change in the automotive industry? So adding my voice to the call for action, I'd like to add my thoughts and share 4 main clues, which are first, inspiration, second, development, third, inclusivity, and 4, networking. And let me please elaborate on that and share my very personal experience. The first clue is the inspiration, so that women enter our great and exciting automotive industry. Over the years, it has become clear to me that to start with the younger generation is half the battle won. Tech gender divides goes back further than just employment. It begins at an education level, and there needs to be additional initiatives to encourage girls to find tech and especially automotive subjects appealing. After general certificate of secondary education, only 35% of girls continue with a science and technology subject compared to 80% of boys. And once we reach university, only around 25% of science and technology engineering graduates are female. And in computer science, the number is even lower at 15%. And this asymmetry is then, of course, immediately translated in the workplace. Currently in France, women bachelors who choose a scientist school choose agronomy, life science, but a very few of them choose the automotive. The famous school in France, which is called Estaca, Automotive School, has only 8% of female students. And why then? I do believe that the change and this attitude must come from the young women and their education. As I already told you, I myself had a role model at home. In fact, I had two role models at home. I had my father, who was my inspiration regarding my future career, and I wasn't afraid to go for it since I was admiring my mother because she was working as well and raising 3 children. And thanks to them both, I've been thinking, yes, I can do it. And that's why I'm convinced that highlighting women role models can be extremely powerful, extremely impactful and beneficial for young girls who do not grow in an inspiring environment. The lack of model, the lack of female role models, and the lack of information on what working in the automotive sector involves is reinforcing the perception that a technology, an automotive career isn't for them. And it would definitely help if the career opportunities the automotive world can offer to women were more widely known and more frequently talked about. These opportunities, they range from engineering to marketing to sales and beyond. Car offers a close link to the end customer, and you can find a variety of career opportunity in this industry. So the best way to drive diversity and inclusivity is, from my point of view, through information and representation in the automotive industry. The proximity between our automotive experts and female role models is, to my point of view, a key factor to motivate the next generation's girls. Girls who are still at school, they need ultimately to kind of see her, to be her, to really be aware of the fact that nothing is impossible for them and that all doors are open and that they clearly are the ones having the keys to make that happen. And collectively, we need to remove the barriers to the automotive industry insights to help inspire young girls to consider careers in the automotive. We are lucky. We have now very strong images of automotive leaders who are women as well. To name maybe only 2 of them, you know all Marie Barra, CEO of GM, Linda Jackson, CEO of Peugeot, and female thought leader can maximize access to the wider female student masses. They can now have virtual panels. They can have virtual workshops, remote speaking opportunities for extended global reach. And this is the reason why we should conduct some interventions in school to inspire and again encourage those young women to dare and to aim higher. And also, we need to desacralize technical professions and encourage vocations. OEMs and tier ones, they should open the doors of their various sites, their various factories, their various R&D centers. Some of them already have done it. Continental is an example. Continental, I've been reading that they had volunteer sponsors who, with their profile as engineers or technicians, are able to explain their activity and make it desirable in front of students, female students organization. Let's now maybe talk about how to support the development once the girls have entered the automotive industry. Continuous learning, acquiring new skill, being a trusted advisor, having a can-do attitude, fostering strong partnerships are instrumental in overcoming the gender discrimination and developing. And throughout my career, for example, I have always sought out jobs that had challenged me in some way to try to expand my scopes, to expand my skills. And the experience, the skills that I was missing, presenting the opportunity to me to grow and to be challenged. And there is a lot more work to be done to encourage women to be proactive and to move forward and drive their career. I really encourage women, and we need to encourage young engineers, young women in the automotive industry to take big steps. But to do so, they must ask smartly. They must learn from others who have these skills. They have to take classes. They need to be reading everything they can so that they can become an expert in these new disciplines as well. And it can often be extremely challenging to fit development initiatives into the demands of a normal working week. You might need to invest significant time, to invest significant energy in your old skill sets to advance. And I know it perfectly. I've been myself doing my master degree of administration remote, working in parallel. But let's be clear. In the end, we all need to do our part of the job in the fight for equality. We all need to do compromises. We all need to give up part of what we care about. I know what it is myself to have an eye on your son playing his basket match on Sundays and the other eye on your mini iPad learning about enterprise strategy. But again, this is where the remote setup for both training and working can be beneficial. Learning online enables us to grow and to maximize the time spent interacting with relevant content. And at Capgemini, for example, we have an impressive and powerful training platform with plenty of content available that I can even download on my mobile. So what I want to say to women, and to young women especially, is if you want to progress, you need to step out of your comfort zone, talking about every aspect of your life. But you need to accept a new challenge. It's a new challenge you need to accept quarterly, and you need as well to accept to fail in some areas. Let's now move to what I'm calling the networking, the mentorship, sponsorship, whatever the name. This is one of the key areas which is historically dominated by the tech industry and the tech industry boys club, boys band. But let's create our Automotive Girl Power Club. Setting up sponsorship and mentorship program to engage girls in technology and automotive is definitely a good starting point. Women can connect with mentors, engage in discussions virtually without geographical restriction. And most importantly, women working for the automotive industry, while they are still a minority, they can connect now at a huge scale and share ideas. And of course, when I'm talking about sharing ideas, I'm not talking about explaining how difficult it is to be a woman in a man's world, but it's about explaining how exciting it is to work in such an industry, how challenging it is to support the major transformation currently in progress in the automotive industry. Mentorship programs are really important. And I was preparing the keynote recently, that when one woman helps another, amazing things can happen. Professional career leap forward. And I think that's totally true. Each of us, automotive leader, should be coaching a number of young women within her organization and beyond, guiding them as they advance in their careers. And sharing their experience with them will hopefully help them along with their own journeys, and as well inspire them to work hard and pursue leadership roles too. I'm myself sponsored and promoted by my executive vice president boss. Thanks to her support and a push, I've been promoted vice president, and I am empowered in my job. So even if she isn't here today with us, thanks a lot, Corinne, for your support, which has been extremely and is still helpful. And it's time for me to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. If organization can start to see inclusivity as a benefit to aspire to, rather than a metric to fulfill, then significant improvements can be made at the workplace with a workplace culture. Every day, we see more women taking leadership roles in the tech industry. They've earned their position, and companies are realizing the business benefits, real business benefits that empowering women leaders will bring. Diversity, equity, inclusion, they are all individually important, but when you have them all together in the right place, you create a sense of belonging and the best kind of environment to work in. and I have the chance to work in such a kind of environment. I just want to be very specific on one point, and I'm now feeling comfortable sharing that with you because browsing on the net, I've seen that Linda Jackson was the exact same opinion, so I'm feeling less alone. I am totally against quotas. Quotas aren't fair, and they are, from my point of view, not women-friendly. In my job, I do not choose a woman because she's a woman, but because she's the best. And quotas, they open the door to gossips. You could say, Linda Jackson, she has been chosen because she's a woman. But nope, she has been chosen because she had results. That's why quotas, from my point of view, are against women. And to an engineer like me, it does not make sense to try to force a 50% out when you only have 20% in. So we need to work on increasing the input. That's why I spend so much time talking about inspiration. And this is working. An outstanding example is our Automotive Engineering office in Morocco, where we have 46% of women, both technicians and engineers. So you see, if at the entry, which is the universities, which are the schools, engineering schools in Morocco, you have this 50%. You are able to keep that 50% ratio during the professional life. So as a conclusion, I want to say that men, women, we all have the same challenge to prove ourselves. We all need to do part of the job in the fight for equality. Maybe we women have to work more for it. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but we all need to dare. We all need to act, to do compromises, and we all need to give a part of what we care about to drive the change. And I just want the young generation of girls to think, let's do it, because I genuinely believe that it's a privilege to belong to a world-leading industry sector, and that being automotive women leaders also comes with a great responsibility to contribute to what I call the Automotive Girl Power. Thanks for listening, and time for soft question or some discussions.
Thank you, Fabienne. And we do have a lot of comments that we will get to you later. And we have a couple of questions here too. So that was a lot to unpack. Thank you for that. And I have a question from Anna. Do we need to rethink our pitch to girls and young women? Considering the background that at least in Europe and many other places, girls are basically told to be helpers in the early years of their life, not leaders, helpers, like support others. And so is there a way for them to fulfill that helper idea also in the automotive industry?
As mentioned, I think that what's key is to really empower young women in understanding that they are not helpers. They can be leaders, and they need to feel confident about it. They need to really accept the fact that trying to be a leader implies to also accept to sometimes fail. But the role model, to my point of view, is key for them to really believe in the fact that they have the ability to lead. And when you look at women leaders, just as Marie Barra, just as Linda Jackson, I think these women are key images to really shift the game from being at the rear seat to shifting to the driver's seat and really drive the car. So I do insist on this role model image, which is key for women to understand that they can lead.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And we had a lot about what was the phrase Jessica used, supportive competition among women. Susanne meant that either helping each other. What we say here on the West Coast is sending the elevator back down. And here we have an interesting question based on that discussion from Sylvia about how to deal with internal competition, for instance, from men who now feel that women are having an advantage. I put that in quotes.
But I understand the point, and that's exactly why I'm against this ratio, and because that's the problem currently. What we see in the companies, in that where when women are promoted, most of the men think she's been promoted because she's a woman, not because she's skilled, not because she's earned it, not because she was worth it, not because she's bringing value, but because she was a woman. And I think that's a pity.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I'm against this ratio in companies, because I think they deserve a woman.
Yeah. But how is, and that was a question from Sylvia earlier, how can we have an HR-driven approach to that change in an organization to raise the number of women then, if quotas are not the way?
Well, but that's really, I think, working, front-loading, I would say, the action plan, and really getting the young generation convinced about the fact that automotive industry is an area in which they can really grow and thrive in the end, with plenty of opportunities for them to catch. And so we need to play upfront, and really to be able to increase the number of young women either entering the engineering school. Sorry for that, I'm focusing a lot on engineering because that's my background.
Yeah, of course, of course. But
the point is that we need as well to get young girls to be aware of the fact that automotive industry is not only engineering, it's not only about technical content. You have a huge playground in the automotive industry, ranging extremely wide, as mentioned during the keynote, and we need to play there. It's really during the school period that we need to create this awareness, so that in the end we raise the ratio, which is something like 25% currently of engineers in the engineering school, to 50%. This is something which can be done in Morocco. I've been discussing a lot with my colleagues who are engineers. They have 50% of females in the engineering schools. Also because in Morocco, in the mindset of people, if you want to be a successful person, you need to go for engineering. That's also a cultural specificity in Morocco, where engineering is recognized as a as a real progress, socially speaking.
Yeah. Thank you for that, because that's also cultural. That there are some cultural differences, social differences.
Well, which one in France? You need to become a doctor. You need to become you need to become an advocate. So you need to be, but engineering is not that much recognized, whereas that's different in Morocco. So depending on the countries, we will not have the exact same action plan either.
Yeah.